From the heart of the Coachella Valley, this is the Palm Springs Real Estate Buzz on KGX with your host, John Sloan from the John Sloan Real Estate Group in La Quinta.
Welcome back, folks. Our first guest this morning is Vince Battaglia. Vince is the founder and CEO of Renova Energy, and he's done a phenomenal job building this company. Welcome this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Vince, tell us what's going on in the industry, because I see a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah, we on top of a lot of we're seeing a real move from just solar companies installing simply the solar panels, but now they're also installing the batteries.
Yeah, I hear that.
Battery systems, once attached to a solar system, become what we call a microgrid. And so we've been in business. I started Renova 12 years ago, and from the very beginning, we have been installing battery, but mostly the car battery, kind of the standard lead acid battery. Well, today you're seeing electric vehicle batteries, which are lithium ion phosphate batteries. They're being installed to manage home microgrids.
How big are these batteries?
They're about 3 foot long by 2 foot wide. They'll hang on your wall. And they're light enough to hang on the wall. And that's the Tesla model. The Tesla Powerwall 2 is really one of the most popular because Tesla, because of all of their electric vehicles, they're using those electric vehicle technology or that technology for home storage. So we're doing a lot of Tesla installations. A lot of there's a Bavarian company that we installed in America their very first battery storage system called Sonnen, and we installed 3 years ago their first system. And so we installed Sonnen also. You're seeing LG also be a big player.
Oh, really? Okay.
LG Chem and their chemistry division. They're coming out with a fine battery as well. So we're agnostic when it comes to the battery. The solar panels are only an American company called SunPower.
Right.
But the batteries at the moment, it would really be a bad bet to try to sort of place all your money on one particular horse at the moment, because technology really is changing so rapidly. And the interface, the way that you can converse with your battery storage device is changing. So that on the technology front, anyone out there looking at solar should also investigate when that solar salesperson comes, should also investigate what do they have to offer with batteries. And the top three really are, in this order, are Tesla, Sonnen, and then LG.
Yeah, and unfortunately you have the utility companies fighting you
right.
about these.
There is that.
Charging you more money.
And that's a great segue because of our movement towards microgrids, which I had really written about, and then I had written a book in 2015.
Yeah, I read about that.
We called Cut the Cord, and that is Cut the Cord is cutting from your utility. Because when you have your own grid, you no longer have to depend on the macro grid of the utility. And we are moving so quickly. I assumed, and I had written that by 2025, you would see adoption at today's level. So we are moving that fast at the adoption of microgrids. What happens when you have your own grid is you essentially can cut the cord from the utility, and in droves, folks will migrate away from the utility. Southern California Edison is an investor-owned utility, so they really have to listen to the needs and the desires of their investors. And their investors said, look folks, microgrids are coming. We need to morph as a utility away from delivering electricity and instead become managers of the wires and the grid system. And that's really, that will keep them in business.
That makes a lot of sense.
It'll keep them in business for a long time because we need that infrastructure, those transmission wires and infrastructure in order to create connections, peer-to-peer connections between everyone's home microgrid and business microgrid. So that will keep the current utilities in business for years, but the morphing is happening right now, but only to those utilities who are willing to pay attention and invest in that area. And we have Southern California Edison, and we also have the Imperial Irrigation District. Imperial Irrigation District is set up under what we call a municipal utility structure, and an MOU, a municipally owned utility. A terrible organization. I just frankly will come out.
They seem to be fighting all over.
They're fighting all over. They've decided that no, we're not going to go the way of morphing.
It's unfortunate.
It is. They're now going to sue. We have an ordinance that I was 3 years ago. I worked with John Benoit on, and then unfortunately John passed. And a wonderful human in Manny Perez picked it up and ran with it and said, yeah, this is unfair. My constituents in the 4th District do not have a right and a proper solar program in which to lean forward into this new energy economy, into this transformation in the way that we get our energy and can have the independence that microgrids give us. So he led the way. We yesterday finally we got it passed, and it will become law in 30 days. And so of course
Perfect.
the Imperial Irrigation District jumped out and decided to create a lawsuit with the silliest of metrics. But they're out there suing, and really who they're suing their own ratepayers.
Exactly, that's right.
And
I just don't get it.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
If they were just to be a more mature, more professional utility, they could rapidly, that territory, all the way down into Mexicali,
Yes.
all the way up to Washington Street, it could become one of the most advanced smart grids in the world.
I agree, because people are still asking me when they're buying houses, I want to be east of Washington Street because I feel as though that utility costs are much less.
Right,
So
but-
you would think that they would want to work a little bit more with the
You would
general
think
public.
that in the same way that they were able to keep costs down, you would think that they would use that same thinking in order to, in the long run, keep costs down for their customers. They're not thinking in those terms when they ignore the use and adoption of solar and of battery storage, and that is what they're doing.
Let me ask a question about the battery storage. You produce it, the electricity from your solar panels.
Right.
It goes into the battery. How long does a battery hold
Very
that
good.
energy?
Very good question. During the day, your solar is actually used to, first and foremost, power the loads, the electric
Right.
requirement in your home. The leftover is then used to store and fill your battery up to 100%. If there's a brownout or a blackout, you would be able to run an air conditioner, all your lights, your wireless, and other loads within your home. Not your entire desert home, because we
Yeah.
have a much heavier load requirement.
Yes, we do.
But we would take a standard Tesla Powerwall 2, and it could power your home for about 10 hours with some what we call critical loads that could run to keep you comfortable in your home during the brownout or blackout.
Got it.
As time goes on, we're no longer talking about efficiencies in solar panels. We're ignoring that now. We don't need them to absorb and convert more. Really what we're looking at is increasing the energy density in your batteries so that your battery in today's square foot can store, say, 10 hours of storage. In 2 years from now, it will be able to store 20,
Yeah.
25 hours. That's really where the technology is making its advances.
What would a typical cost be of a battery?
A battery system installed, if you were to pay cash, is about $12,000
Okay.
additional to your solar. We're working now with all of the capital funds that currently offer financing for solar as well as leasing on solar, and we're working with them to integrate the cost of the battery so that if you were to have a lease or you would have financing, on a lease, for example, you would pay an additional $10 a month on top of what your solar lease would
Yeah,
be.
okay.
For peace of
Big
mind,
deal.
$10 a month is nothing. If you
Yeah.
wanted to pay ahead of time, like I say, in cash, and get the 30% investment tax credit for yourself, that's a $12,000 investment.
So what's the life expectancy of a battery?
15 years.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's the same that we have in electric vehicles.
Yeah,
Same in
got it.
vehicles. So that's rapidly changing the market, and what's great about it is as technology goes, and disruptive technologies, you're seeing more money come off the sidelines from General Electric and other large manufacturers who are putting much more into research and development. So you're seeing the technology in batteries, like I say, just double and triple in efficiency, and that's only good for bringing costs down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your company has done exceptionally well,
Thank you.
and you've won a number of awards.
Yeah,
What's
we're very lucky.
your favorite one?
My favorite would be, and no disrespect to Rancho Mirage, because they honored me as well personally, but we just won for the Chamber of Commerce in the
Yeah.
city of Palm Desert, my city where Renova was born, where I went to school and received my MBA, which was the thesis, which Renova was the thesis for graduation. We won the Large Business of the Year just a couple of weeks ago in the city of Palm Desert, and I'm very, very, very proud of
You
that.
guys deserved it.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Folks, we're talking to Vince Battaglia. He is the founder and CEO of Renova Energy. And Vince, I want to say thank you again for coming in this
Thank you
morning.
for having me,
You're
and
very welcome.
everyone stay
The
cool.
listeners did learn something today.
I hope. I
They
speak
did.
so quickly because this is all I think about 7 days a week.
That's
so
great.
Thank you for having me in.
You bet. Have a great day.
Thanks.
From the heart of the Coachella Valley, this is the Palm Springs Real Estate Buzz on KGX with your host John Sloan from the John Sloan Real Estate Group in La Quinta.